We're continuing our discussion from last week. Does marriage change you? So yeah, I'm gonna leave it to you to continue. So what say you?
Why does it have to be me?
Because you take the lead.
That's right. No, but I take the lead?
On this, yeah.
No, but I take your decision to take the lead.
No.
Again, without a neck, the head ain't turned into nowhere. So boss man, boss woman.
Okay, do us the honors.
May I take the honors, please?
Do us the honors.
Okay, so willingly you're passing it on to me.
Yes.
So if it's bestowed upon me, I have to receive it with humility, grace. Hi and welcome back. OPM here. My lovely wife, Elen. Oh, sorry. Please, your name?
Mrs. Opokumensa.
Ooh, yee. Ooh. Who's Mister?
Okay.
Okay. Let's get a little bit into details. So on the last segment, we did speak a little bit about marriage and how it affects you. We barely scratched the surface. And today, again, we're going to still be more elemental, not substantial yet. We're still going to be surface. But if you've seen me, well, I hope you brought your shovels because we're going to dig. Hi, Jordan. Gonna say hi? Oh, nobody loves me. It's fine. I'll put you in
Go
person.
watch Bean. No, continue.
That's
Yeah,
why.
continue. Okay, I'm back. Let's get to it.
Wait, we're gonna do it? Oh!
Later. Babe, stop playing. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Alright, so let's get back into it.
Does
Wait.
marriage change you? And
Can I
we
get into
established that it does change you.
Okay. Okay, so. Okay. Marriage does change you, yes. And on the other episode, I did talk about how you can affect marriage. But I wanna draw a dichotomy here. I wanna paint a picture to you guys because on probably the next segment, what I will want to do is to really talk about the practicality, the application, the execution. But for now, I want to stick to analogies, and the reason being that I want to expose you to something because each one of you have something you've already picked up about marriages, and to that, those are your drivers, if you know what I mean. So I want to take this opportunity to redefine the properties back to you again, and then we'll go into the practicality of it. So now, I spoke about marriage affecting you and how you affect marriage, and I drew a distinction between education and marriage. And the reason I chose education is because of one reason and one reason only. That is one point we all accept.
We can all relate.
We can all relate to that it actually does better you. And it's not just systemic education, because anything that you attain information that kind of like broadens your horizon gives you more applications to your life. And we all agree on that. So that's why I drew that extension there. And I will continue to use that. So marriage. I want you to think of marriage as a mountain. So the mountain is paramount. It is chief. It's not going to move. The mountain is going to stay still. And if you're able to climb on top of the mountain, then you're going to be exposed to the elevations available to you, where you stand on top of the mountain, you can see your north, your orientation, your south, your east, and the west. Which pretty much what I'm trying to say is when you're on top of Mount Everest, you're able to see the world in a different purview.
After you pay 11,000.
And probably not die. That's not what we're talking about. So I use a mountain as an analogy, and I'm going to go into details why I chose a mountain. Because education, if you think about it in itself, is a mountain. But you see, the mountain is actually not an obstacle. That's the dichotomy I want to really elucidate, like explain. The mountain is not an obstacle. The mountain is just there to clearly define how much you really want what you're claiming to want. That's why there's a mountain. And besides, if there wasn't any mountain in the first place, how are we able to decipher, understand who really wants it and who's really just here to play? Just like in education, education is a mountain. But that mountain can be overcome because it's not an obstacle. It is actually there to expose you, add to what you know, and give you more benefits to your life. With education, you tend to take the information from people that have completed to a specific pinnacle within the education structure. People who are already in their professions, doctors, lawyers, pilots, people who have actually been able to undergo all the stresses, accompanied with education. Those are the ones you take information from. Not the people who tried education, failed education, or did not educate themselves, not just education as a system, but then did not educate their minds, did not educate their hearts, did not educate their gifts, their passions, and failed in life. You don't take them by their word. Just like you don't take a homeless person outside that, hey, buying homes is a bad idea, look at me. Same thing with marriage. You don't take advice from people who never reached the top, who have no revelations, people who tried to climb the mountain and stopped alongside, camped where they are, people who did not even decide to climb the mountain at all. Take information from them, because it looks like every time I turn my eye into anything concerning marriage, the very consistency of what I hear is marriage is hard.
It's a long
marriage
journey.
is a long journey, and it is not easy. And it is no. See, education is hard. It's not easy. But I look at a doctor who accomplished it and realize that there is. Thank you. That is my motivation. Thank you, my wife. See, you're the best. You want to add something to it?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
That is my motivation. That is my inspiration. It's doable. Somebody has done it, so I'm able to do it. It is in that same context that we bring marriage. So I wanted to really take this time to really give you that, that revelation in terms of, in a context that marriage is like a mountain. And the mountain is consistent. To those that climb, they will bear the orientations of life. They will bear the elevations of life. And it will elevate you. I promise you that even for me to put marriage and education in the same thing is actually not like that. It's a different equilibrium. But I wanted to take something that we can both agree on. So now let's come in a little bit of, let's break down the analogy more so you guys can get it. Okay, so a couple of things I want you to know. Every individual has their own perceptions about what marriage is supposed to entail. Before you got married, you had your own expectations about marriage. You had your own preconceived perceptions. You call it whatever you have. Notion, perception, call it whatever you have about your expectations to marriage. Do me a favor right now. If you're very close to a window, open that window. If you can, just throw out that analogy immediately. Immediately gut it, scratch it, chuck it, forget about it. The reason being that decision was solely based on individualism. It was solely based on you and what you think. And for the principles of marriage to work, for you guys to be able to climb the mountain, don't forget that marriage is a mountain. And it's not an obstacle. Let's not forget that. For you to be able to climb that mountain, it takes a team. And we're going to go into that, but not today. Go ahead, baby.
In other words, you're saying, right? Okay, I met you. I fell in love with you. For me to really put that love to a test and know that the love that I have for you is real, I'm supposed to, like in marriage, with all the, like once we're in a committed marriage relationship, with all the, I don't want to say obstacles, because we are climbing a mountain. So the things that we face in marriage is what will put my love to the test and really bring out the true love that I have for you. Yes. Because before the commitment, it was just words.
Thank you.
But now, those words have to be made manifest. And that's what marriage reveals if you play according to the rules, right?
See, but the rules, as beautiful as it is, see, what even makes it better? The rules are so... It's infinite, because it doesn't matter from what angle you want to climb the mountain from. It is a determination to get on top of it. So just like what you said, Thank God she liked me when she met me. But when you met me,
I liked him a lot.
see, when you met me, there was the issue of compatibility in terms of attraction, aesthetics, what you liked about me. See, but that wasn't love then. That was just what you liked according to your perception. Now, that compatibility brought us together. And in that togetherness, when we started to work for each other was when the love began. Now we're talking about love. But that's a whole different subject. We'll go into that. Now, let me talk.
The real change process.
See, because that's the next step. Because that's the next step I want to introduce them to it. So I was talking about throw in your percipience, your percipience, which is your analogy of what you thought about love, because the institution of marriage is not an individual thing. It is two people becoming one. So any perception, any thinking that involves individualism, one-mindedness, already
it's not gonna work.
failed before it starts. It can't work.
So if I'm coming into marriage and I'm thinking, oh, my husband has to take care of me, he has to do this for me, he has to, like, all these mindsets that we, notions that we as women have, without taking into consideration what your husband to be thinks, that's right there, that's going to be a failed expectation.
It's failed. Why?
Marriage.
Do you know why that's failed?
Okay.
It's failed because please, you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
It's failed because you have anchored an expectation to a likeness in me. So if that expectation is not met, you're not gonna like me anymore, because you're gonna say this is not what I signed up for.
And these are the things that people stand on to say, oh, marriage is.
So do you know what that is called?
It was. What?
That is a contractual marriage.
Okay.
It's not a covenantal marriage. That's a whole different topic we'll talk about. My people are not ready for that right now. I'm training them. When you see me, you gotta get your shovels, because we're gonna dig deep. We're gonna dig deep. And marriage is beautiful, so we'll get into that. So as I was talking about before, my beautiful wife, interjected with her wonderful ideologies, I want to continue to share this. When you're climbing on top of the mountain is like a, you see, in the army. Let me put it this way: in the army, it's a group of individuals, like soldiers, that come together, but then they work as one unit. So one person is aiming at right, whilst the other person is protecting him from an enemy. So whilst I'm aiming to protect you from getting shot, you're also protecting my side from getting shot. The mountain is there purposely to get us to team up and work as one unit, because in that oneness can we effectively climb it effortlessly. But you get it, baby? And you see, in our marriage, which I share a little bit, and because at a point I was individual and you're individual, we were going nowhere. So to go straight, left and right needs to be combined to go straight. You get all else. We just going apart, and the more apart we are, the heart longs. The more apart we get, then it becomes a point of, no return.
Right, because you're going against the current of marriage. That's not what marriage is about, and so you will not be able to enjoy the true fruits. The fruits.
But you see, one thing about education that now you guys got me riled up a little bit. One thing about education that you have to understand is, you see. And when I say education, I have a correlation with marriage. Do not forget that. When I say education, see, one thing you have to understand is very simple. Never think that education is what puts information. Let me get this right. Do never think that education is really what literally gives you a brain. No. The brain is already within you. Education exposes you to the application of the brain. Education exposes you and gives you the understanding on the utilization, the execution of the brain. So love is embedded in all of us. If I bring it into marriage, love is embedded into all of us. Marriage is a mountain. It's what exposes the two of us to the ignorances and the individualism, the perceptions and the stupidity, the insecurity, the immaturities. And these things are supposed to come out. So when they come out, we will start to identify them and work together on them. And once we start to identify them and we work on them, we start to refine ourselves, and that's what creates the oneness. So case in point with the education, your brain already works, but you probably never knew 1 + 1 = 2 because you were never educated about it. It doesn't mean your brain never had the capacity to have figured that out if it was given the skill set. So education exposes you to the truths that are already within you, so you can work this life and help make life better. Same exact principle, except in marriage is bigger. It's bigger because within, I'm not going to go substantial, we're just going to stay elemental. Within a marriage itself, it's education, if you really think about it. Because within the marriage itself, I'm not going to go into that, but society is born from marriage. But we will, that's
Charity begins at home.
you know.
Like you mentioned refinement, and it gave me the picture of like gold.
That's right.
Gold in its natural state is not as beautiful as we see it, but once it is put in the refining process with fire, it brings out all the dirt so that the gold is able to be molded into the beautiful,
You see why I like this treasure?
beautiful treasure that it is.
Yes.
To shine and be its best self, because in the natural state it is gold,
It's okay.
but it's not its best self.
Thank you.
So yeah, so the finery process for marriage, for two married couple, like that's what it's gonna do. That mountain is gonna be your refinery process, and then bring you to that place
Can I
where
speak in tongues?
you're one flesh in the best self. You know, us two here in our
Bests.
best. We're going through it.
Charlie,
We're going through it, yeah.
God has been good.
So that's the purpose, to come to your best self. It's not to compete. It's not to come to a place where,
Chala.
yeah.
All those things.
The purpose is to
when I go
bring
into
you to
application, I'll speak
to
for
that
Go ahead. Sorry.
togetherness that's gonna present you in your best self.
Come on, add more. It's too beautiful. Add more.
I got that from your refinement statement.
Okay. Treasure. You got me on treasure. Got my mind on treasure. Okay, so diamond, like she talked about gold, in its rough state, already has other minerals mixed around it. The minerals or the earth deposit you find when you get a raw diamond are the perceptions we hold, what we see in our families, what we saw in our idea of marriage through our parents, or through television, through deception, through the world, through so many other means and mediums. And basically what that does is it mixes into our treasures, which is our originality. Hi Jordan, how are you? And what marriage does is it exposes these things that we picked up from the environment. And once it exposes it, we're able to then merge it together as one treasure that appreciates. Because in life, anything that you buy, especially you put money which has value into it, depreciates at a certain period of time. But when it's something that is more of a substantial a deed, it actually appreciates when it goes with time. See, things like when they talk about wine appreciates. But see, wine, these are all natural phenomena. Like gold, they appreciate. Diamond, it appreciates. But when it comes to man-made stuff, they start to depreciate. But that's value system. But we're not going to talk about value system today. So let's go back and now let's talk about a little bit of practicality. And I'll pause here.
To the next, which is the practical aspect of allowing yourself to be changed by marriage. So go ahead.
Oh, yes, boss. The allowance. So the first and foremost is accepting that you need change. Adaptation in life is consistent. If you don't adapt, you die, pretty much. Just like in education, you accept that a professor needs to impact you with the knowledge that he has acquired.
You have to receive it.
In marriage, the professor, who's the almighty professor, which is the architect of love, is what you need, because he exposes you to the foundations of marriage and its principles and how to go about things. I don't want to go into details there because I have a specific segment prepared for that. And everybody meet my wonderful daughter Jade, who looks nothing like me and all of mommy, and I thank God for it. Can I say hi? Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so are you okay now? All right, you can go. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So you're gonna need virtues, but all these things again. Let me take my time and step back for 2 seconds, and I'll come right back to the practicality. The wisdom I have acquired along the way has been something of a gift from God, but it happened when I got tired. When I went to my lens. She's aware of it, and He started to expose certain things to me. So in that wisdom, I'm able to give you what I've gone through. But we'll get into that some other time. The first thing you're going to need is tolerance. In the practicality, tolerance is don't think of it as an ambiguous, like it's not ambiguous. No, think of it as a need, essential need, because just like mothers have babies, tolerance is the first thing for mothers. Because the baby is going to throw tantrums as a baby, poop all over the place, not follow rules and regulations, do all the things that they're not supposed to do. But it is the tolerance that gives them the time to expose all their immaturity so you can pick them out.
It's the tolerance can also be seen as a training process.
Yes.
Because even though a mother will tolerate a baby throwing tantrums and whatnot, that is a tool for her to teach them. To mature into the toddler stage, the kid.
Honey, did you pick that from my mind?
I got it from what you said.
No, but you could sync it, because literally that's what tolerance does.
Right.
You're not just tolerant to accept nonsense.
Yeah, right.
But then the tolerance exposes that nonsense, so you know what to do to
so
that
it means
nonsense.
that you tolerate in a certain way, in a way that will cause your partner to grow, not just like with hate. Once you tolerate with love, tolerating with love would do that.
I was actually going to say tolerate with grace.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
But with love
even
conquers.
better. Yeah.
But you see that the first thing you need is tolerance, because you yourself, you got to be tolerated by your partner.
Yeah.
You yourself.
You're not perfect.
So it's not just them.
Right. Because we know no one is perfect, like
you,
especially in marriage, we know nobody is coming in perfect.
So you have tolerance, and then you go to a very paramount part of it, self-realization. It's also part of self-actualization. This is where you are going to pay attention to just you, not them. See, the good book Bible talks about take the plank from your eyes before you go to reach out to take the little speck out of somebody else's eyes. Because it looks as if we're all pioneers into telling people their problems.
Oh, we're so good.
I am a boss at that, at accusing. She's a boss at accusing. Yeah. It's easy to destroy, and it's a lot harder to build or create.
But even harder to accept
to
that
point yourself in. You. So it's self-actualization, self-realization. In self-actualizations, it's gonna have a little column where you're gonna find yourself, where you have demonstrated your immaturity. So you start to see where you're immature. You have demonstrated your self-perceptions, your ideologies, which are all based out of self, not based out of us. So you're gonna know. We all know when we are all based. Why are you angry? You are angry because he did not do it a certain way you wanted him to do it. You did not, or she did not do it a certain way you wanted. But the question is, where is that effective communication that exposed how you both needed it done? Self-actualization.
Taking into consideration the other person's strengths. And
you're so ahead of me.
Like I would just say, I need my eggs fried this
in a certain way.
When did I put into consideration your lack of expertise
on that area
when it comes to cutting the veggies a certain
the way you want it?
Yeah, if I take my time.
In that expectation, you teach me how to do it. Now I know how you want it. And when I do it, it actually gives me education. Then now it actually tastes better. But if it's all me and against you.
So in other words, stop expecting, but do more like communication and training each other. Spending time together with each other will actually help you do that.
Use your
just
word.
expecting.
Sorry.
Like you always say,
I'm a magician. I'm not a magician. See, your word was.
Okay.
So stop expecting. Do more education.
Teach more.
Teach more.
In love.
In love. See, tolerance. Let them make a mistake.
Man, I'm being preached to.
No, what do you mean? But see, honey, we have come so far. Are you serious? God has been so. Jesus! God has been so amazing in our lives. We are the worst couple you can find on earth.
Yeah, but we've never given up.
But see, and it makes me know what it feels to be on top of the mountain. How can the worst become the best? How can the worst share to the world? I'm like, man, if only you gave in to grace to take over you and do what it does within you, to expose what was already embedded in you.
Knowing that it is. So, like, you have a picture of it. It just needs to manifest.
That's it.
So you keep, every day you wake up, you know you have that picture, you know what it takes. You have what it takes until you're just running that race. You're running that race.
It's going to be a lot of minutes. Are we ready for this? We have to probably do the next segment.
Yeah, so I guess,
Let me just tie it on a knot. Okay. Just to make it easy, I'll continue from where I've reached, because in the next couple of steps, after the self-actualization, then we're going to go into now where we're going to bring together from a single mindset to a double mindset. So which is going to be a division, which is individual division, which is going to combine to be called a vision.
A univision.
Because when you have a univision, then we start to have a purpose for the marriage. What is a vision for the marriage? But that's a whole different thing. Because when we have a vision for the marriage, now there's a target that is created. With a target, then we start to now go into our strengths and our weaknesses, and then who gets to lead where, and who gets to follow where, and who's strong where, who's not strong here. Because again, we're all in the same boat. If we ride the boat capsizes, we all both in the water. So now we start to believe in ourselves. We believe in a purpose, and these are the things that God solidifies and edifies in your heart, in your strengths, in your mind.
He's the one that's putting us together. That's why it says, "Who God has put together, let no man put asunder." He's doing the
molding. Do you remember when you talked about the refinement? Jordan.
Maybe we're gonna go more into it.
Jordan, that's my son. He looks like me, so I love him. What you eating? So you remember? We're gonna close, but you remember when she talked about the refinery process? God is the anchor. God is a fire. God is marriage. God is a fire. That is why there is that need for the exposure of all the impurities that we have, attracted and contaminated ourselves with. God burns those things away, and then
I love it.
Makes us as pure as He intended originally. And then in that purity, we are put as one. We are put as one on top of the elevation, and guess what? We become the light that others are able to draw from. So on that note, we're going to end today's segment. I hope you had fun. You met Jordan, JJ. You met us. It was fun. On our next segment. Hey, come here, PJ. Come here, PJ. This is JJ. This is PJ. Princess Jade. Say hi.
Hi.
So this is PJ. This is JJ. Jay. Come on, Jay. This is JI.
This is Jason.
Jason. This is my older. I got a teenager, guys. This is JI. So you met JI, JJ, and PJ. It was lovely. You've met the OPMs. We're going to be here all week.
Yeah. All right.